What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome everybody to week number 1 of the MGL, where this week we're going to be taking on none other than Elf Owls, coach of the Newport Knocked Owls. Here are the teams. Overall, I am extremely excited about this game. I'm extremely excited to use this team first off, and this is going to be a very fun game, I think. HATTREM is the scariest Pokemon. I knew this was going to be a tough matchup while we were drafting, because I realized I let go of my Dark type, which was Impidimp initially. So we're definitely going to see HATTREM here. Yes, obviously. We are going to see Frogadier, Ivysaur, HATTREM, Fletchinder, Luxio, and Vibrava. So this is more or less what I expected. I believe that's just top 6. No Groddle is interesting. I was expecting possibly Groddle over Ivysaur, but other than that, this was pretty much the 6 that I expected. So, this is going to be a very tough game, obviously. I think what I'm going to do, I also need to remember, I apologize in advance. This is the first video that I'm recording where I'm purposefully not editing it down, so, at least, yeah, you get it. So I don't know what I want to do here. I could lead Streamline here. Cold Snap is also pretty reliable, because it hits near everything super effectively besides HATTREM, which is very nice. We could also see a HATTREM lead. I think what I'm going to do, let's see. I guess it's a good lead against everything that's not Ivysaur. That's kind of the issue, right? Ivysaur is the main problem. So what I might do here, honestly, Bronzor is not that bad of a lead, I don't think. I could definitely lead Bronzor, because I wonder if Ivysaur and HATTREM are going to be the lead. So I'll lead Bronzor here. I have a switch in for everything else. Also, there is a decent chance that if Vibrava is the lead, they might think I'm Levitate, and that's kind of my goal. I want them to think I'm Levitate for as long as possible, or as long as Vibrava is alive. I'm heat-proof specifically for Mystical Fire HATTREM. That is my thing. So we are going to go ahead and see Spicy Wings. So that is going to be Fletchinder. That's a bit unfortunate. I will go ahead and switch out. We lead Buffer. I'm immediately swapping. There is zero reason for me not to here, and I'm going to go into Cold Snap here. I am special, so if they opt to burn me, that's fine. I'm doing this just so that way, you know, yeah. I'm expecting this is probably a special set. They were probably expecting a Cutie Fly lead. I'm willing to bet that they were expecting a Cutie Fly lead. So I'm very curious to see if they stay in. They could go for a U-turn. I think U-turn makes the most sense here. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to punish that. I did think about bringing Rocky Helmet on Marshtomp, but I valued the Eviolite more, especially since every other Pokemon by that point. Marshtomp was like the 6th Pokemon I added to this team. We are going to see a U-turn here. That does a lot of damage, actually. Hold up. That's crazy. Fletchinder. How did it do that much damage? Let's see here. U-turn. Are you Choice Band? Choice Band. You must be like Choice Band then. Hold on. 266. What? Okay. You have a lot of... Yeah, you must be banded. You must be, like, actually adamant banded. I think that was max roll adamant band. Okay, that's good to know. That's really good to know about Fletchinder. Fletchinder is a scary mon. If we can get that thing damaged, then that's phenomenal for me. We are going to see Ailey Hatwell. That is going to be the HATTREM, actually, which is very interesting. I was not expecting that. I will go ahead and swap back into Buffer. Buffer is always my check for this, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Reflect. I'm going to set up a Reflect on the Fletchinder switch, and then that's just how we're going to handle that. We could see that they were possibly expecting me to have, like, rocks on this set, which I did think about bringing. I did think about bringing rocks. Obviously, I do have webs. I do have other things as well. Cutie Fly Loki has a really good matchup here. My goal for this game is to try and set up my Dragon type, my Shelgon, especially because there is no Fido. Outrage just looks absolutely insane, because HATTREM is only a pure Psychic type. It is not a Psychic Fairy type yet. So, we're going to go ahead and swap out Cold Snap. We love to see that. We're going to go back into Buffer. We could see a Mystical Fire here. This will probably reveal that we're heat-proof if we do. We are going to see a Calm Mind. So it is Calm Mind here. That's fine. I have a bunch of physical checks for this, so I'm not too concerned. I do have Payback. I do have other ways of hitting this. I think what I might do, I might just click Payback here just to reveal that I have it. If they go for Calm Mind again, that's fine. I have ways of like, countering this. We are going to see Mystical Fire here. That does no damage whatsoever, which tells me you are, like, really bulky. We're gonna go for a Payback here. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, you're like Bulk City. Yeah, you're absolutely Bulk City, and this is one of your Eviolite users. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set up a Reflect, just because I do think there's a good chance you swap out here. We could see that you don't switch out, which would be a problem, but you know what? We'll figure it out when we get there. We'll figure it out when we get there. HATTREM is, again, like I said, the scariest Pokemon on this team. They might be confused as to why that did so little damage. Again, we are, in fact, the heat-proof ability. So if they remember that this Pokemon gets heat-proof, then they'll know now at this point that we do have heat-proof, and Vibrava might be a switch. So that is something to keep in mind. If we see the switch into Vibrava, then I go into Grovyle. So we are just going to see another Calm Mind. So they're just going to try to set up as much Calm Mind as they can, which is a slight issue. I'm going to go ahead and set up my Reflect, and then I'm going to set up my screen, my other screen, my light screen, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead, set up a light screen, and then I think I'm going to switch into Pikachu here and go for a knockoff, just to knock off this thing's item, because this is a very scary threat if it doesn't have, if it has the thing, because you are setting up quite a bit, and that scares me. So that is something we are going to have to keep in mind. You're not modest, you are like max bulk, you are like max fizz bulk, so I think if I do this, you're at +3. I'm going to go with light screen here. Psychic should never kill. We're going to see another Mystical Fire, that's fine. We're going to set up our thing here. Special attack fell, that's fine. We are setting up our light screen. Bada bing, bada boom. Beautiful. So, we set up both of our screens. I could honestly also go into Equilibrium. Equilibrium here might not be bad. This might, well, okay. We could see a Psychic here. What do I want to, how do I want to handle this? I could switch into Equilibrium. I think you are max defense. So maybe I go actually into Streamline. I could go into Streamline here. That's a pretty solid switch. Mystical Fire will do a decent chunk of damage to me. I think I might go... Could I? No, I can't go into Defragment here. I think I might go Grovyle. No, I don't go Grovyle either, actually. I don't do that because, yeah. I need to weaken this thing down. That's the main issue right now. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll Payback again. Do I Payback here? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I Payback here. I'll Payback for a little bit more chip. Let's see. We're gonna see another Calm Mind. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, so I think you're just going to go for damage now at this point. What Pokemon do I not need on my team right now? I think it's maybe Grovyle. I think if I think I'm going to go into Grovyle here. I'm going to just go for X-Scissor. I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Grovyle's not 100%... Well, Vibrava becomes a lot scarier, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Maybe this wasn't the right play. Yeah, I think I was a bit too hasty with that play. I think I was a little bit too hasty with that. You probably have Life Dew, if I had to guess, so you have a way of recovering HP. We're gonna go into Streamline here. Hopefully they don't go for Mystical Fire. They do go for Mystical Fire, that sucks. We do live though, and we fire off our Citrus Berry. Special attack fell, that's fine. Okay, we fire off a Citrus Berry, so at least we can take one more, and then we can just go for an X-Scissor here, and do at least a decent chunk of damage to this thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for an X-Scissor. We do have Acrobatics, so Acrobatics is now online as well, which is good. Unfortunately, we're no longer a check for Frogadier, but it is what it is. There's nothing much I can do about that. At the very least, we do have our screens up, so we're able to tank hits, which is good. Yeah, this is fine. This is okay. We have our Unburden procced. I think they're going to prioritize just damaging this mon. I don't think they're going to try and stay in. Or, well, I don't think they're going to try and, like, you know, let this... You get what I'm trying to say here. The nice thing is, I will be able to check this later on, which is good. We're going to see another Mystical Fire, that's fine. We do live because Grovyle's a beast. Let's go. Special attack fell, that's fine. Our Team's Reflect wore off, that's okay too. I'm going to go for another X-Scissor just to deal as much damage as possible to this thing. Yeah, we're gonna let this thing go down here, that's fine. At the very least, this is a lot of damage dealt to this. A critical hit is massive for me. Giga Drain does absolutely nothing. I think they were thinking I might try to save this and go into Marsh Tomp. I was never going to do that. So, unfortunate that we lose Streamline here, but this does give me a pretty free swap into Pikachu. And I can just click Knockoff on this. So that's pretty solid. Pikachu should always be able to KO this, and that is that, right? Yeah, knockoff, even if you're like max defense, which you definitely are, knockoff will always kill, and it punishes whatever, yeah, it just punishes in general. So Electrodynamics is going to hit the field. That's our Pikachu, baby. Let's go. Knockoff to fire off this hit. Again, nothing wants to take this knockoff. If they go into Vibrava, it loses the most likely what is Scarf, so that's very nice. I think they're just going to let this go down. That is my assumption. If they don't let this go down, then that's huge for me. That's massive. Because, like, HATTREM can't win the game at this point because it's so low HP, so I think the most likely choice is that they're going to swap. They're going to let this thing go down. They're thinking about it, though. They do swap. Okay, let's see if it's Vibrava that switches in, or maybe Ivysaur. Ivysaur's probably the switch. Cabbage, that's definitely Ivysaur. Ivysaur, but firing off a knockoff on Ivysaur is huge. Very big for us. Knockoff, boom, does a decent chunk of damage. Love to see that. So that's both Eviolite users are essentially in the water, which is huge. I'm going to go into Buffer now. Buffer is the freest swap ever. The nice thing about Ivysaur is it doesn't have Earth Power. That's a big reason why I didn't run Levitate. Bronzor actually does check a lot of Pokemon on my opponent's team. My guess is you're probably going to go for Leech Seed if I had to guess. I think Leech Seed makes a lot of sense here. We're going to see, you're probably especially bulky if I had to guess, specifically for this. So the fact that you lost your item is massive. Let's see, you're no longer Eviolite. Let's see, we're already going to see a knockoff on them, but that's not going to do any damage to me. Ice Spinner can do a lot of damage to this Mon, which is pretty awesome. I do kind of like going for that. I think I'm just going to Ice Spinner here. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to surprise you with some damage. We are going to see the swap, actually, so they do have to swap. We do lose our Eviolite here, but that's fine. That's okay. We're going to see HATTREM come back in. That's fine with me as well. We are going to reveal our Ice Spinner tech. Boom. That's fine by me. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. You could Mystical Fire here, and I think that'll kill me at this point, but that's okay. I'm just going to fire off a Payback. There's no reason for me not to at this point. If you go for a Calm Mind, that's fine. We're just seeing Mystical Fire. We might live this. We do, because Bronzor is insane. Bronzor, this was a tier E Mon, by the way. This was a tier E Mon. HATTREM goes down, Bronzor gets the first kill for our team. We love to see that. That is massive. Alright, Bronzor did what it needed to do. It can die now. I'm very happy with this exchange. This is massive. Bronzor did what it needed to do here. I could use it as a check to Ivysaur, but there's no reason for me really to at this point. I think now it's going to come down to a Shelgon endgame. I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards now. If we see Vibrava come in, I don't think Vibrava will come in because I have Ice Spinner. So I think if it comes in here, that's a death sentence. The nice thing is we now know that Ivysaur and HATTREM were the Eviolite users, which I expected. I did expect those two to be the Eviolite users, so that makes a lot of sense. So that's really good to know. They know Bronzor is one of them, and they probably figured out that Marshtomp is the other one. We're gonna see Luxio switch in, so that's fine. I'm gonna set up a Reflect here just in case I'm able to. And we are just going to see a Crunch. That's fine. Okay, so Crunch, we go down. Unfortunate for us. But that is overall very fine. I could go... Okay, so your Guts Flame Orb. Your Guts Flame Orb, that's good to know. I think what I might do here, I think I'm just going to go into Cold Snap. There's zero reason for me not to at this point. We should live a Trailblaze. Because we've couched for that. So I'm just going to fire off an Earth Power. If you go into Vibrava, that's fine. I'm going to Earth Power here. We should live a Trailblaze here if they want to go for that. And then we punish with an Earth Power kill, which is absolutely massive for me. So yeah, the checks for Pikachu are slowly getting weakened down. Again, if Ivysaur wants to be the swap, then Ivysaur also gets damaged, which is really awesome, and I love that. And then I'm probably going to switch it to Cutiefly. Setting up webs with Cutiefly would be massive. So that's going to be my main goal with Cutiefly, is setting up webs. And then, yeah, like I said before, my main goal will be setting up Shelgon for the end game. So we're gonna see possibly what this thing wants to do. They'll probably end up switching out here. And if they switch out into Vibrava, really well played. No, they just go for Trailblaze. I think this is a dead Luxio then. I'm pretty sure this is a dead Luxio. So we do see the Trailblaze. We fire off an Earth Power. Boom. Let's see if this drops. It does. One-shotting Luxio. Let's go. Okay. Another check for Pikachu. Dead. The only check left alive is Ivysaur and probably Choice Scarf Vibrava. Let's see. Frogadier can definitely do some stuff as well, which is something I do have to keep in mind. But that's, again, a very big threat for Pikachu out of the way. And honestly, a very big threat for the Shelgon as well out of the way. So both of those are absolutely massive disappearing here. Fletchinder is definitely an issue. I need to calc and see, can I live a Brave Bird from a Fletchinder? Let's see here. Fletchinder, Brave Bird, if you are Choice Band, let's see. Adamant, I think you're Adamant as well. Brave Bird, does 53 to 63%. Let's see, if I add the band, does 80 to 95. I always live with Shelgon. Yeah, I always live with Shelgon. So we're gonna see the Frogadier switch in. That's fine. I'm just gonna go for a Yawn. I'm gonna let this Pokemon go down. We're gonna see an Ice Beam. So they do have Protean. They're gonna change to the Ice type. They probably were trying to catch a Shelgon switch, which is fine. Cold Snap fainted. That is okay with me. I think here I'm just going to go into Pikachu now. I think I just go Pikachu and I click Knock. I really like that play a lot. It punishes, like, Ivysaur switching. I could also go into Defrag. I could go Defrag here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into Electrodynamics. I think I'm going to go into Electrodynamics and I'm just going to click Knock Off. I like that play a lot. Let's see. Ivysaur. If you lose your Eviolite, I think Thunderbolt actually does more, most likely, unless you're like max Spadef. It's an even amount if you're Spadef, so, and I think you probably are Spadef, so I'm just gonna go for a knockoff here. Let's see what they want to go for. I'm very curious to see. We could see if Ivysaur, again, if Ivysaur comes in, then I go into Shelgon if Ivysaur comes in, I go into defrag, set up webs, and then go for endgame with Shelgon. It's very scary, don't get me wrong, and especially if they have multiple checks, but I think Shelgon can win the game if I set up enough, and that's going to be my main goal. Although Ivysaur is a bit of a scary pick. We do live, let's go. I think that might be like Specs then, possibly? Or Scarf, your choice Scarf. Okay, that's good to know. So your choice Scarf, that's fine. Nothing else can take this hit. I'm gonna go for an Alluring Voice here. Let's see. Ice Beam. Okay, that's fine. Pikachu goes down. Honestly, is this the time I go into... No, this is not the time I go into that. I think I have to go into Cutie Fly here, right? Do I go into Cutie Fly here? Cutie Fly versus Frogadier. If you've changed into the Ice type at this point, Ice Beam will kill, actually, unfortunately. Maybe I go into Shelgon now? No, Ice Beam will still kill. So, yeah, I'm gonna go into Defrag here. I might actually lose this, I won't even lie. This might end up being a loss. Moonblast should always kill, which is good. So, and Bug Buzz should also kill always as well. Both of those should always kill. I'm gonna go for a Bug Buzz here and hope that we live. I think we should hopefully live. So I'm just going to, I guess also I could still click Moonblast. Even if Ivysaur comes in, yeah, I'm going to click Moonblast here. I'm going to click Moonblast. Really well played to my opponent. This was a very tough matchup for me. I'm glad I didn't lose to HATTREM at least. I think I threw away too many checks though. I think I threw away too many of my checks. We're gonna see an Ice Beam. Does that kill? Survey says it does. Unfortunate, we aren't the Focus Sash because we were Boots because I was afraid of Vibrava with rocks. My win con here is setting up a Dragon Dance with Shelgon, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that unfortunately because I think I will die to it automatically. So we're gonna go for a Dragon Dance and hope that we can survive. I think we should always die to this though. We are Protective Pads. Regardless, Fletchinder will win the game because of the Gale Wings, and Fletchinder is still at full HP. Really well played to my opponent. I can't be mad about this loss. Again, this was a tough matchup for me. I think, yeah, I definitely could have played better. I definitely could have played a lot better. But this was also a very tough matchup for me. So I'm proud of how I played. GG's to my opponent. I think I already said that. Be sure to check them out down in the description below. I believe everybody is uploading this week. So definitely always be sure to check out my opponents when they upload. And yeah, this is also my first time battling this opponent as well. So this was very, very exciting. Again, really, really well played to them. I think I could have played that a lot better, but I'll still take it. Week 1 curse is real, but we will absolutely take that. We'll bounce back, I'm sure. I do still really, really like this team. The fact that my E tier is as bulky as it is massive for me. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it will absolutely work. Once again, GG's to my opponent. Really, really well played again. Can't emphasize that enough. They played extremely well. And thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And with all that being said, I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!